You know that feeling when something just feels, well, a bit off?
Yeah.
Like maybe a shadow moves just out of sight, or you hear a weird noise in the house.
Yeah, that little prickle on the back of your neck.
Exactly.
That's
That
real.
kind of primal unease. It makes you wonder sometimes,
Hmm.
about what else might be out there.
It really does. That instinct, that
Right.
that curiosity about things we can't quite explain.
Mm,
It's very human.
right.
And that's kind of where we're going today, exploring that intersection of, well, feeling and belief.
Precisely. We've been listening to a source from the English Podcast Zone channel on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Episode 14. It's called Learn English Quickly with Podcast English Learning Conversation.
Okay.
And it's basically this dialogue, this conversation about maybe going into a haunted mansion.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. And then they break down all the English words and phrases you use when you're feeling scared or creeped out.
Ah, so language focus.
Yeah.
But what's interesting for us, I guess, is that they also touch on cultural stuff.
Exactly. Like how different people, different cultures think about ghosts and superstitions. It's quite neat.
Okay.
So yeah, our mission for this deep dive is kind of twofold. First, we'll unpack the language they use, the words, the phrases for describing fear.
Right.
And second, we'll look at those cultural takes on the supernatural they mention, get a quick but hopefully pretty thorough view of it all.
Sounds good. So where does the source start? The haunted mansion.
Yeah, it kicks off with this scenario. These two people are planning to go to this mansion described as ultra spooky.
Ultra spooky, not just regular spooky.
Haha,
Yeah.
no, definitely needs the ultra. And it's also a scary looking mansion. Apparently, the owner, Shabby, says it's haunted and they're going to, quote, investigate.
Okay, so right away, the language is setting a scene. Ultra spooky, scary looking. It tells you a lot.
It really does. And the reactions are pretty immediate. One character is clearly not keen,
Understandable.
saying things like, I don't like this and that. The whole place just gives me the creeps.
Gives me the creeps. We'll probably come back to that one.
Definitely. And then there's a bit of teasing. Someone gets called a scaredy cat.
Ah, the classic scaredy cat.
Yeah.
So even in the setup, you get this mix of genuine fear and maybe some social pressure or joking about it.
Exactly. That phrase gives me the creeps. It's so efficient, isn't it?
It really is. It conveys um, that visceral, uncomfortable feeling without needing a ton of explanation. You just get it.
Yeah, it's that gut reaction. And scaredy cat, too. It's interesting how we use language to, like, downplay or poke fun at fear sometimes.
Definitely. So did they break down some of this vocabulary specifically, like ultra spooky?
They did. They explain that spooky on its own is, maybe a bit unsettling, a slight scare, but not outright terrifying.
Okay.
But adding ultra, that just, ramps it up, makes it way more intense, significantly more than just baseline spooky.
Right. It's like an amplifier.
Yeah.
What else? Did they talk about haunting?
Yep. They clarified that a ghost haunting somewhere isn't just, like, a quick visit.
No, it implies persistence.
Exactly. A repeated presence, something disturbing the place regularly, like a ghost that's moved in and won't leave.
An unwelcome spectral roommate. Got it.
Huh. Yeah. And then for people who maybe react strongly to that, they mention the word coward.
Ah, okay. Bit more direct.
Yeah, pretty blunt. Just someone who isn't brave, easily scared. They point out it's a bit judgmental, maybe.
It can be, yeah. But then they must have mentioned more physical reactions too.
Oh, absolutely. Goosebumps.
Can't talk about fear without goosebumps. That texture on your skin when you're scared or cold.
Right. And they actually mentioned the Spanish equivalent is chicken skin.
Oh, interesting. Piel de gallina, yeah. It's fascinating how different languages find similar, very physical ways to describe that same feeling, isn't it?
It really is. Maybe points to something, fundamental biological about how we react to fear.
Could be. And what about scaredy cat? Did they elaborate on that one?
Yeah, they pointed out it's definitely more informal, more childish even.
Right. Something kids might say, or friends teasing each other.
Exactly. Not something you'd use in a, serious assessment of someone's bravery. It suggests a lighter kind of fear.
So these different words really let you paint with different shades of fear. Mild unease, actual terror, social commentary.
Totally. And they also had a section, a fluency builder, with some practical phrases.
Okay, like what?
Well, the first one was that pattern, adjective looking. The main example was scary looking mansion.
Ah, yeah. So describing something based on its appearance and the feeling it evokes.
Exactly. And they gave other examples like creepy looking, crazy looking house.
Super useful, that structure. You can use it for anything, really.
Yeah.
They even mentioned nice looking dog.
Yeah. It's like a shortcut, isn't it? Combine the look and the feeling instantly.
Definitely a good one for learners. What was the other phrase?
Gives me the creeps. We mentioned it earlier.
Right, that feeling of being really uncomfortable, unnerved.
Yeah, maybe a bit scared, but just generally weirded out by something or someone.
Did they give examples?
Oh, they did. Like, someone staring at you can give you the creeps. Or the classic one, clowns.
Ah, clowns. Yeah, that works for a lot of people, strangely.
Right. And their point was that gives me the creeps is often that first reaction, that instinctive nope feeling, even before you figure out why.
That makes sense. It's like your subconscious saying, something's not right here.
Exactly. You feel it before you can maybe explain it.
Hmm.
Okay, so then the conversation in the source, it shifted a bit
How so?
towards like actual beliefs. One of the hosts just came right out and said, I totally do not believe in ghosts.
Okay, pretty clear stance.
But then the other host shared this really specific personal story.
Oh.
Yeah, about being at dinner with their parents and a glass of water on the table apparently just moved
Mm-hmm.
and then spun around all by itself.
Whoa. Okay, that's harder to dismiss than just saying, I don't believe it's an actual unexplained event.
Right. Those are the stories that make you go, aren't they?
Definitely. And did that lead into the cultural discussion?
It did, yeah. They started talking about how in Latin America, for example, there seems to be maybe a greater general acceptance or belief in ghosts, spirits, urban legends, that kind of thing.
Interesting. So cultural context is key.
Totally. They mentioned things like, belief in a leprechaun under a bridge or spirits of relatives visiting ideas that might be more embedded in the folklore or daily life there.
Which shows how our cultural background really shapes what we consider possible or even normal regarding the supernatural.
Yeah. And then they contrasted that with Anglo countries.
Okay, how so?
They suggested that maybe while individuals might believe in ghosts privately, it's perhaps less common to talk about it openly in society.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe superstitions in those cultures focus more on like avoiding bad luck.
Right, like the black cat crossing your path thing?
Exactly. Or the number 13, or not opening umbrellas inside. Things that are supposed to ward off bad fortune rather than involving specific spirits.
So it's a different kind of engagement with the unseen, maybe more focused on luck and consequence in the here and now.
Seems like it, yeah. It's just a different way cultural anxieties or beliefs might express themselves.
That's a really interesting comparison.
And I like that they actually invited their listeners to share their own beliefs and superstitions on their website.
Oh, that's good. Acknowledges it's a really personal and diverse topic.
For sure. And they did briefly mention their vocabulary review section at the end.
Any key terms jump out?
They highlighted words like creep out, which is obviously related to gives me the creeps, and chilling, supernatural, terrifying, and investigate.
Okay, so more useful words for this whole topic. Chilling is a good one, that sense of cold fear. Supernatural, defining the whole category. Terrifying for the extreme end. And investigate, bringing it back to the mansion story.
Exactly. So wrapping up our own deep dive here, we've covered quite a bit from that source. We've looked at specific English for talking about fear, from the intense, ultra spooky down to the gut feeling of gives me the creeps.
Right, those linguistic tools. And we've also touched on those really interesting cultural variations in how people view the supernatural ghosts superstitions.
Yeah, how belief differs across places like Latin America versus some Anglo countries, according to the source.
And hopefully, thinking about this gives you, our listener, a richer sense of how language and culture really weave together when we talk about these unsettling feelings and beliefs.
It shows just how much our background influences how we even frame these experiences.
Definitely.
It does make you wonder, though, doesn't it? Kind of stepping back from the specific cultural norms. What is it about ghosts, about being scared, that keeps us so fascinated across cultures, across time? Is it purely psychological, a way to deal with anxiety, or maybe just enjoy a safe thrill?
Or is there something else?
Yeah, or is there something, I don't know, more fundamental maybe in our collective human experience that keeps drawing us back to the idea of the supernatural?
That's a big question.
It is. Definitely something to ponder after the deep dive is over.